Sometimes Wizards of the Coast makes a magic card that makes you step back and go, whoa. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about a brand new spoiler card from Theros Beyond Death. And oh my lord, is this thing incredibly powerful. This card actually has been waiting 7 years to exist, although not in the form it currently exists in. The card that we ended up with is not the card they had originally envisioned for the first Theros. They were able to make a lot of heroic characters, but they weren't quite able to make the one that they wanted to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some historical tie-ins to this card, and then we'll talk about the card itself, the different variations, and the final product, which is mind-blowing. So to make sure we're all on the same page, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about protection, all right? This is an ability that spans all the way back to the beginning of Magic the Gathering. I think for anybody who started back when I did, the most notable cards with protection, the obvious standouts, are going to be your White Knight and your Black Knight. These two sort of mirrored images of each other, the two opposite poles that really help to illustrate exactly the concept behind protection. I really enjoyed it. When you take a look at the original old school like alpha printings, you've got the White Knight, which is 2 white, and take a look, if you guys haven't seen the old white mana symbol, take a look at it. It doesn't have the weird jagged sun lines. This is what we originally saw as the white mana symbol way back in the day. So 2 white for a 2/2 knight creature, and basically now they've updated to be human knight in case you're curious. It's got protection from black and first strike. And it says, out of the blackness and stench of the engulfing swamp emerged a shimmering figure. Only the splattered armor and ichor-stained sword hinted at the unfathomable evil the knight had just laid waste. So you could picture this knight as just some sort of unstoppable force. It doesn't matter how evil, the most evil demons, the foulest of peasants, whatever it is, nothing can stand in the White Knight's way. And the same concept goes with the Black Knight, but in opposite, right? Where we've got the old, again, take a look, we've got old weird mana symbols. These look different than our current day black mana symbols. Not all the mana symbols got revamped in the same way. I feel like white is the most noticeable change. And actually, interestingly enough, with these old black mana symbols, if you actually look really closely at the artwork on the screen, you may be able to see it. There were little lines that ran down from the bottom of the skulls. I think they're most prominent on unlimited cards, but I could be wrong about that. Either way, there was just something weird about the black mana symbols where you would have these little lines running down off of them outside of the actual mana circle that you could see. So Black Knight is 2 black for a 2/2, protection from white, first strike. Battle doesn't need a purpose. The battle is its own purpose. You don't ask why a plague spreads or a field burns. Don't ask why I fight. This guy compares himself to a plague. Or a field burning. A field, you think about like a field of like grain or something like that, where the farmers have set out their grain and their food is just burning away. That's an unfortunate kind of blighted situation. So the Black Knight compares himself to just the absolute most vile sort of scenario where it's like, I just want to take life. It doesn't even matter. And he's so vile and corrupted that nothing that is pure and holy, like white magic is able to touch him, right? There's an amazing concept here. You take a look at the 2 different styles of artwork. You've got like the White Knight, and he's reared back with his sword ready for action. You've got the Black Knight just kind of stationary there, but still full of menace. And I like the heraldry on his shield as well. So the idea of protection was an interesting one to wrap your head around. This is one of those abilities where like you have to have a rule book originally to understand it, because it means a lot of things, and there's certain things that it doesn't mean that people found very, very confusing. So protection, at least back in the old day, they used to use the DET acronym. So it couldn't be damaged, enchanted, blocked, or targeted by anything of the color that is protected from. So the Black Knight can't be blocked by white creatures. It can't be enchanted with white enchantments. You can't do any kind of damage to it with a white card. There's there's more white cards now that do damage directly to creatures. There weren't as many in the past, but you weren't able to do that sort of thing. And you couldn't block it, target it, enchant it, or damage it in any fashion. Now, it felt weird to people because they thought that Black Knights and White Knights should be able to kind of block each other, like their protection should kind of cancel each other out and they could get locked into a battle where nobody could actually win, but they could fight each other. There was also a lot of confusion around things like Wrath of God. People thought Black Knight is protection from white. Wrath of God is a white spell. How can Wrath of God destroy the Black Knight? So as you can see, protection is a very powerful ability. I mean, the fact that it makes creatures unblockable to a particular color, the enchantment thing is okay. That also applies to equipment now. Now that we live in the days of colored equipment, like Embercleave, for example, you could not equip an Embercleave to a creature with protection from red. You're just not allowed to do that. So protection's just gotten stronger over time. No target effects can hit it. You need a blanket effect, a la the Wrath that we spoke, to handle the protection cards. Wizards of the Coast actually went ahead and removed protection from the game for a considerable period of time, and it's understandable. They were thinking that it was too complex and too powerful together. So they went ahead and yoinked that out of the game. I understand that, but they've realized that protection is actually a fun, powerful ability. It's a nice feeling to have protection creatures. We can see a whole slew of them right now that have shown up from things like Core 2020, and I'm genuinely enjoying seeing protection return. Now, we're talking about protection because protection is the main theme that's going to be behind the card that we're looking at. Now, before we move to that card, I just want to show you something absolutely insane from Magic's history if you haven't seen it. Because if you have never seen Progenitus, that is a what moment in Magic, if there is any what moment for you. So, Progenitus is 2 of every color. This guy costs 10 mana, and you have to have 2 of every single color. Not easy to accomplish, but what do you get for that mana? You get a 10/10 creature with protection from everything. That means all colors, that means sorceries, that means everything. Absolutely everything. There is nothing this does not have protection from. Now, yes, as I said before, board wiping effects can still nail this card, but overall, Progenitus is one of the most protected creatures in all of existence. It takes the whole concept of Shroud, untargetability, hexproof to a brand new level of, yeah, no, I can't be targeted by any of that, son. I also can't be blocked by any of that. I can't take damage. Like, you cannot block Progenitus. First of all, he just can't be blocked. He's a Hydra that is the soul of the world. And I like the fact Progenitus is so massive and impressive that I like the fact that they just kind of hid him back here in the clouds in the artwork, in the fog, in the darkness, where you can see his long, sleek necks reaching up. He is the most insane Hydra in all of Magic. Interestingly enough, we talked about a Hydra yesterday. But either way, I just wanted to bring you the concept of protection from everything and talk about how absolutely bonkers that is, because, my God, the card we're looking at today is the closest you can get to protection from everything without actually having protection from everything. We are looking at Haktos, the Unscarred. 2 red, 2 white for a 6/1 legendary human warrior. He attacks each combat if able. As he enters the battlefield, choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. And it's a good thing it's at random, because honestly, it'd be too strong if you got to pick. Anyhow, you pick one of these numbers at random, and Haktos has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. So basically, let's say, for example, you ended up randomly choosing the number 2. Haktos has protection from everything but converted mana cost 2. That is absolutely nuts. Because protection from every converted mana cost, that means 0. Even lands. Lands have a converted mana cost of 0. You have to understand, this is essentially protection from everything. But instead of paying 10 mana, you're paying 4 mana. Now, it's a really good thing they made it 2 red and 2 white to make him trickier to cast. But with all the mana fixing, it's still totally doable. And you look at the artwork, and you can see there's an endless rain of arrows being fired through the sky, right? And behind Haktos, you can see an entire phalanx, an entire shield wall of soldiers. And all of those shields have they're all bristling with arrows. They may as well be holding porcupines for how many quills they have sticking out there, right? And you can see Haktos running through this. There's so many arrows that every single shield is completely riddled and covered with them, which means there's an endless amount of these arrows. And yet Haktos, not a single one of them is touching him. The flavor text says, many have sought my weakness, all have failed. So this card is based around Achilles. If you guys know the whole like myth of Achilles, basically his mother dipped him into the river Styx, and that granted him invulnerability, except for the one little part of his foot where his mother had to hold him to dunk in the water, and that was his heel. And that's his weak spot. That's why we have the phrase Achilles heel. So the concept here is Haktos' Achilles heel is the one converted mana cost. And I'm glad to see they made it a low converted mana cost, because the original version of Haktos was actually 6 mana. He was blue. So he was 2 blue, 4 colors for a 5/5 with protection from everything except converted mana costs of 5. And that feels bonkers on a number of levels. First of all, that it would be a blue card. I guess it was tying into the whole River Styx water concept, maybe. But either way, blue getting a beefy creature like that has protection from everything seems like absolute insanity. They also tried a variation of this Haktos with the same casting cost and everything, where instead of choosing a random number 2, 3, or 4, you would basically reveal cards off the top of your deck until you hit a spell, and then bam, whatever the casting cost of that spell is, that the converted mana cost would be his one weakness. So from a flavor concept, this is absolutely amazing. I like the fact that they made him 6/1 and has to attack each combat, because otherwise it would be way too difficult to deal with him. Under these circumstances, you're at least allowed to take advantage of his weak spot because he has to keep swinging in. But if you don't have something of the exact casting cost to take him down, this card is going to be a nightmare. I mean, he's got the stats of a ball lightning. He's 6/1. And this thing can easily hit the board on the 4th table, if not before, with all the mana fixing that's going on. I mean, when rotation hits and we don't have quite as many of the dual land options in terms of all the stuff we have now. And I mean, you've also got Fabled Passage as well. There's a lot of ways to mana fix now. This guy feels insane. He feels insanely powerful. I'm genuinely surprised this is not a mythic rare, because he feels amazing. And I love the fact that it encapsulates the Achilles myth very, very strongly. It's well put together. I like this card a lot. I will definitely be acquiring one for my cube. In the cube, he'll be even stronger, because my cube doesn't have the same kind of curve as regular standard decks do. But my lord, I feel like this is insane. Like, I thought Progenitus was insane, but this guy's only 4 mana. Either way, let me know your thoughts. Do you feel like I'm overhyped about this card? Is there something I'm not thinking about here that makes him less enticing? Or do you think that this guy is busted crazy nonsense? And what do you think about the flavor concept? Do you think that it encapsulates Achilles well, like I do? Or do you have a differing opinion? I definitely enjoy reading through all of your thoughts. I read every comment that's left on the channel, even if I'm not responding to them. I see them all, and they help give me an overall gauge of what you guys enjoy, how you feel about what I'm doing. So thank you very much for taking the time to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, give it one of them thumbs up liked action so that I know it. It will warm the deep barrel of my belly. Big shout out to all my patrons and channel members. Thank you for supporting my channel and giving me the freedom to create what I want to instead of being beholden to chasing views. I am very appreciative of that. And to all of you, I say, I shall see you tomorrow. And remember, together, we are the 6th color of magic.